So just as you're jumping in, thank you so much for joining us. I am Kristen, and just a quick little background. About almost 12 years ago now, I was introduced into an opportunity. At the time, I was working as a server full time, and it became very apparent to me that if I wanted to progress and really grow something of my own, that I needed to make a change. Working in the service industry is fantastic. You meet great people, but there's not a lot of room for growth in there. And so I was, didn't have a college education, and I knew that I just needed to make a change. And so I came across this opportunity with your Freedom Project and learned how to grow a business and create an income online. And I tell you, the income has been a great help to our family financially and has also afforded us the freedoms that we wouldn't have been able to attain if I had continued to work in the service industry. And so today on Mondays, we come in and we do a work at home show or a webinar. And this is our webinar for the month, where we share ways that people can work from home and share an opportunity where you can see, no matter what career you're in, what level of education you have. You can either come and see what it's like in a day in the life of an entrepreneur, or learn about a different career path if that is something that you're looking for, if you're what we call career disturbed. And so tonight, we have a very special treat for you all, and I will share my screen and we'll get this show rocking and rolling. Alrighty. So tonight we have a very special guest. We have Dina joining us, which I'm going to introduce her in just a moment. But before we do, so tonight we are talking about the ideal business for healthcare professionals and discover how healthcare workers can create an extra income despite their demanding workload. And we know that with everything that's been going on in our world since March, that their workload has increased. So the COVID-19 pandemic has severely affected healthcare professionals. Through this pandemic, healthcare workers are stressed, they're feeling overworked, and they're putting themselves in the line of fire to ensure that we, the public, are taken care of. And this unfavorable situation makes it even harder for them to find other sources of income because of the massive workload to either supplement or replace their current one. So in this webinar, you're going to discover a way to generate passive income despite a hectic schedule. So here's what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to cover the 3 biggest challenges facing healthcare professionals, the top solutions that we recommend to help, why we recommend them, how anybody in the healthcare industry can start today, plus much more. And tonight it is presented by Dina Ali. Now I'm going to totally butcher it again. Dina, I'll get you to pronounce that for me one more time.
Aller Heiligen.
Aller Heiligen. Thank you. And Dina is a registered technologist. She is registered in radiology, computer tomography, and magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI for the easy way to say it. And she has worked for Veteran Affairs for 8 years. So she works in the healthcare profession as one of those people that basically the rest of the hospital or the rest of the profession cannot live without. If she's not there, they're not getting the images that they need. She is their eyes. And so, Dina, I would just like you to, whoops, I'm playing with buttons here. One second. There we go. So, Dina, just come in and say hi. And we're so happy that you're here.
Hello. Thanks for having me tonight, Kristen.
Awesome. And we're very excited for you to share your spin on this, because most people, when they think about healthcare, think about, nurses, doctors, care aides, that type of thing. So I'm very excited to have your spin on it from a part of the healthcare that doesn't get as much of the limelight that I think you deserve, because like you said earlier, we were talking about, you are the eyes for the
Okay.
professionals. So we're very excited to have you here. So let me share my screen and I will pass it over to you. I'll get past you though. You don't need to introduce yourself again.
Okay.
Take it away when you're ready.
All right. So we're going to talk tonight about the biggest challenges facing healthcare professionals, which are some of the ones that I can relate to are lack of advancement, especially in the radiology world. Unless you're going to get multiple modalities under your belt, you kind of have a ceiling. We're definitely overworked and understaffed, for sure. Yep.
And you mentioned something actually when we were talking before about lack of retirement. So can you elaborate just a little bit on what that means for you?
Yes, I would not say that we have a poor salary per se, but maybe a lack of retirement, especially with today, the way the economy is going and how our stocks have dropped. Uh, I would say that our retirement looks like something we need to take better care of, start thinking about, be good stewards of, and maybe thinking about other opportunities.
Hmm.
And the network marketing in which I've decided to go into, I feel like is something I can do long into retirement.
Yes, yes. And that's a very good point. Setting yourself up where you're not relying on Social Security, if there's a Social Security, or up here it's a pension, if that's even a possibility. And, the other one too that I know you mentioned was lack of interesting assignments.
Yeah, I mean, it is I wouldn't say thankless job, but maybe unappreciated.
Mhm.
People just don't see I'm speaking from radiology point of view. We're slightly unappreciated behind the scenes, like we talked about, eyes of medicine. Um, and so I guess that's the lack of interesting assignments in that way is we feel like we're doing the grunt work, we're down in the trenches, but we're not getting the same kind of appreciation.
Mhm. And, I could totally see how that would happen in your line of work because, like you said, it's one of those things that is kind of behind the scenes, right?
Mhm.
And I think even too, if you look in the nursing profession and even in doctors, it can sometimes be that thankless type of position,
Mhm.
um, which is
Right.
very disheartening. And I'm sure it's very disheartening for you as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Grind.
yeah, exactly. A bit of a grind. And
Mhm.
so, as you think about the future and as you think about where healthcare is today, what do you see some of the big challenges coming up for people aside from the retirement side of things and just with what's going on in the world today?
Well, I mean, in the immediate future, and maybe even right now for a lot of people, it's burnout.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of our healthcare professionals are burned out. Um, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess burnout is the key thing that I'm coming up with.
The
Yeah.
big one. Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that. And I mean, you work, I know that for you as a radiologist and working in the radiology side of things, what is the scheduling like? Is it similar to what nurses where they work like shift work and wonky
Yes.
hours?
Yes, we do shift work. Yes, we have, very similar schedules to a nurse or a doctor.
Hmm.
I've worked all kinds of different shifts. I've worked 12s. I've worked a compressed shift where I'm just doing 3 days a week, 3 12s. I've worked seconds. I've worked days. So
Hmm. So
it's
just a
very
very
similar. Mhm.
Yeah, so just a very exhausting career path, really and truly, and one that I am personally grateful for. I know my kids have had to visit radiology many times, and so have I. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to see what was going on. So thank you very much for that. So those are some really core challenges that I think the more we can see that they're there, the more we can also look for a solution for it. And that's really what this is about. So we'll share our screen again, and we'll keep rolling.
Okay, so according to Chicago-based Career Builders Turnover, how to cure the retention problems ailing your healthcare organizations. These are the top 3 challenges healthcare workers are currently facing.
Okay, so we're just going to dive a little deeper on a few of
So,
these.
lack of advancement. 51% of healthcare workers, excuse me, said lack of advancement opportunities posed a significant challenge in their current or previous position.
And so when you think about lack of advancement opportunities, do you find that, I mean, with what you do, you said unless you're going to bring in a bunch of other modalities, there's not a lot of room for growth in there. And how do you find that affects your passion for what you do when the
Mm,
growth stops?
Well, I got educated in the healthcare profession to help people. So every day I'm helping. So the reason why I entered the healthcare is always there. So that's a plus. But as we get, especially as we age, and it's hard work, I feel that we need to feel like there's a place that we could go to that we can still work safely, and and we can handle it as we're aging. Because I mean, let's just face it, most of us are going to be working into our 60s. So
Hmm. Hmm. That's a very good point to bring up. If you don't have that room for growth and you're still doing very hard and arduous work
yes,
all
right.
the way into your retirement,
Right, physical work.
yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. So having those advancement opportunities not there and being able to move up into positions where maybe the work isn't as hard, but you're still, experiencing growth in what you do and learning more, but doing it from a different aspect. I can see that
Right.
being quite the struggle.
Yes.
Okay, great. Oops, there we go.
and and the burnout, our workload, that's another one. And according to Career Builder survey, the provider shortage is hitting every healthcare organization in the country, especially when it comes to nurses. There's fewer staff members that have to divide the significant workload, pushing some employees to the brink of exhaustion. And we're really seeing that now with COVID,
Hmm.
and decreasing job satisfaction.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
not because they don't want to be there or they're not happy with helping others. They're just exhausted.
Hmm. Well, and then, we talk about the understaffed and overworked. Are you finding that more and more people, like, is there still a good amount of people coming into the healthcare field as those that are leaving, or has there been a shift in where people are wanting to go for a career and less people are interested in the healthcare?
Um, hmm, I have not personally seen a slowdown in the new technologists, but I have heard the rumors of a slowdown in the nursing and definitely the doctors in
Mhm.
this country. So,
And just from your point of view, why do you think that's happening?
just from my point of view, Um, it's hard work. I mean, for doctors, it's hard work, and the liability is high. Um, Nursing staff, I would say, they're underappreciated, and I mean, it's hard work.
Hmm.
So, and
Yeah,
exhaustion,
yeah,
exhausting. So
that makes a lot of sense for sure.
yeah,
All
and even
right.
though you love your job, when you're exhausted at the end of the day.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's great.
And I would say for poor salary, 40% of healthcare employees believe that poor salary is an issue in their jobs. I personally feel like that's not an issue. I feel like a lot of us are paid, but I think maybe the thought of their salary is poor is because they give so much that they feel like the compensation that they're working to, they live to work rather than work to live.
Hmm.
They have no life after, at the end of the day.
So kind of feel like they're giving more than what they're being compensated for. Not that the salary is terrible, but it's just
Right.
because of, I mean, and you're giving not just the support physically, you're giving a lot of emotional support too
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
that end, which is, as we know, just as taxing when you're giving emotional support. So I could see how that there may be an imbalance in what they believe they should be compensated for what their output is.
Mhm.
Um, so that, yeah, that definitely makes sense. And coming from the radiology side of things, um, when it comes to the support that's given and what you give, do you feel that there's a balance there? Or does it still feel unbalanced? I know it's a little bit different, but I mean, I've been in the radiology side of things with, my kids being there and the person on the other end. I could see that also being incredibly emotionally taxing.
Um, it can be. I think that's the beauty of radiology, though. We're not as invested in our patients as, say, a nurse is. I mean, don't get me wrong, we still are there for our patients and we want to care and provide great care for them. But we're not as invested. We
Hmm.
don't spend the amount of time with our patients as a nurse would.
Hmm.
So we have support and I guess, yeah, yes, we have support.
Well, that's good. And it's like I said, this is so nice to get a slightly different perspective on the healthcare side of things.
Yes.
Getting it from, I guess, more of like a behind the scenes, but very critical position that you're in. As you said, you're the eyes, right? And without you, we wouldn't be able to see. The doctors wouldn't be able to see what's going on inside. So
Right.
it's very, very,
Yes.
top of the tier, important.
We are definitely part of the chain that
Makes
makes
it all
strong.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's excellent. And, are there any other things that you may want to add into a couple of the struggles? I mean, we talked about the retirement side of things. We talked about the overworked and the burnout.
Yes.
Um, is there anything else that comes to mind for you, just with whom you work with, and even in your position, that you find to be one of the big struggles?
Um, I mean, I guess the what comes to mind is what healthcare is going through right now with COVID. We are exposed more to this virus than most people are. We don't have the luxury of the stay-at-home order, the stay home, because if we stay home, well, there's nobody there to take care of those that are going to the ICU and the ERs.
Hmm.
Um, so that's a big struggle, of course, I'm sure with a lot of people. Some of the struggles right now, especially again with COVID, is a lot of these kids are stay at home. My kids are grown. I don't have this struggle, but a lot of my coworkers have the struggle of what to do with their children,
Hmm.
because they're at home and they have a job to go to. They don't get to stay at home. So there's a huge struggle right there with healthcare workers today.
Yeah, and especially not having the flexibility, like you said, what do you do in that position? It's
Yeah,
um,
because you can't stay at home and work from home. It's
no, no, we need you there
yes.
desperately. And that's actually a really good point to put up, because I'm friends with a few people in healthcare from all sorts of different modalities and what they do, from nurses to doctors to even care aides. And that is probably one of the biggest concerns right now is, I've got kids at home, and
Right.
I can't, it's not like you can send them to school if schools are closed down. So I think that flexibility in there too, if we can provide something where they can have that flexibility and maybe shorten down the hours a bit, is
Right.
hugely
Yes.
helpful. So
Yes.
that's what actually we're going to move into here next, was talking about the top solutions that we recommend. And Dina, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Most people are hesitant about starting a business because of the substantial risk associated with it. That's why we recommend business opportunities that can be done online.
And from home.
Yes. And right now, e-commerce is booming, more than whatever before, right? This is
Hmm.
the best time to break into this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, selling physical digital products, yeah, you can sell things on Amazon and other online shops. Offer virtual assistant services, social media manager, business coach, become an influencer, a blogger, a YouTuber, podcast. That sounds like fun.
Podcast is fun. And actually, let's dive into these just a little bit. So let's talk about selling projects and digital products, because this is the e-commerce part that you're talking about that is absolutely booming. And
Yes.
with what you and I do, of course, we're in the network marketing side of things. And so
Mhm.
what have you seen in how people purchase products now?
Oh, definitely online.
Hmm.
Definitely online.
Online, delivered to the house.
And as a network marketer, you can meet them in their home from your home. From
Hmm.
and we're all got the distance that they're all telling us to have. Stay at home.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
you get to market your business from your desk at home,
Hmm.
right into their living room in their
Yeah.
home.
And it's the same thing too if you look at affiliate marketing or being an eBay reseller. It's you're delivering a product to that person without having to go anywhere to deliver it, which of course none of us are doing anyways.
Right.
So being able to have the flexibility to offer a product, I think is such a great thing, and to be able to offer it digitally, of
Right,
course,
digitally,
makes it.
and all you have to do is guide them and teach them about what
Mhm.
you're selling, what your product is, and yeah, and they get to shop right there online.
Yeah, that's excellent. And then same thing, you could also look at, as you mentioned in here, the offering a service. So a virtual assistant working online for somebody and doing assistant type work, but you don't have to be physically in their space.
Mhm.
If you're great on social media, maybe you could offer your services as a social media manager to somebody who needs, because I mean, you and I know what it's like to manage social media for our business.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Who would have thought?
I know, right? Who would have thought social media would have become so time consuming for business?
And
But it is, and
getting
it's
into I'm sorry, before
no,
you
no.
get
You
into
go ahead.
network marketing, I thought I was an expert on social media, and then you learn all kinds of things that social media can do. And
Hmm.
I realize I am not an expert at all.
Yeah, it's just the tip of the iceberg
Right,
when you're utilizing it. So that one I find quite fun because so many people moving businesses online. It's such a good option if you're very proficient in social media. And then you got people like us who have businesses online that we need that service. So it's something that is a need there. And the more that we are needing to connect online, the more that type of a service is going to be
right,
required,
right.
right?
And what I chose to network, I want to bring well care to my customers
Mhm,
so that they don't need me in this day of sick care. They don't need to overcrowd the ICUs and the ER. So
mhm,
I am a healthcare professional would do very well in the network marketing that I have chosen.
mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And so, it just shows that there's many options you can do. And even if you're looking into becoming an influencer, using your skills. And the cool thing is with what we do with network marketing, we can use all of these and use our skills to share the product.
Mhm.
Especially like you said, podcasting looks like fun. And I know you and I were talking about that a while ago
Yes,
as a venture to explore.
right,
But, if you have skills that you can share with others, a blog is a great way to get that out there.
right. Yeah,
Um, Same with YouTube. And there's so many things you can cross post on and share across different platforms that I think many people don't necessarily think about. It might not have been even in their vision. And no wonder, being worked so much, you probably don't have a lot of time to sit and even think about these things,
right.
uh,
Yeah.
which is why we do events like this. So you don't have to worry about it. So just knowing that there's many, many, many options out there where you can start to bring in a little extra income to free up some of your time. All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Dina?
Oh, no, I think we covered it pretty well.
Okay, so let's go. Now we'll talk about our favorite one.
Okay. One particular path to becoming an entrepreneur that many of the experts recommend is to start a network marketing business. It has some of the best attributes of the different types of online businesses listed above.
Hmm.
Yep, this is why we recommend network marketing. Low startup cost, low overhead,
Hmm.
which is very important. You can start part time, 8 to 10 hours a week, and you can grow to full time or retirement, grow into retirement.
Exactly. And another thing about that too is you don't necessarily have to quit your job to start it,
Exactly. Yep, eight
right?
to 10 hours. That's all you need.
Hmm.
Okay, you have proven systems similar to a franchise. You can get training from people with experience.
And that I think is one of the critical pieces that many people overlook with it is you have this collective of people that are doing the things that you're doing that you can learn from. It's
Exactly.
not a matter of having to go out and get another course or anything like that. You can learn from people who are actually doing it. I
Right.
think that is so valuable. And what
And
has been your experience with being able to learn from other people who are doing what
well,
you're doing?
the network marketing part of it just makes it so easy for us to get together without even getting in our cars and having to travel somewhere. And I can get a trainer in on a meeting with a Zoom, like, with Zoom as our meeting place. And I have my trainer right there, right in with my potential clients. And we've never left our home. And yeah, I mean, it makes it easier for the trainer, for the experienced. It makes it easier for the trainee, and it
Mhm.
makes it easy for the clients.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to create everything from scratch. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. I heard from my trainer so many times.
And it's so true. And I think so many of us, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit in you, you have that natural creativity, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's just bound to happen. That's how we are as entrepreneurs. But when
Yeah.
you realize you don't have to create everything from scratch, and there's certain parts that, yeah, you put your flair on, it
Yes.
takes so much of the learning curve and the growth curve out of the equation and kind of limits the barrier to entry.
Yes. Mhm.
Mhm,
You have a proven product already.
mhm. Yeah, you don't have to
Turnkey,
do any R&D.
right? A turnkey business. You're part of a supportive community of other entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
You can create a residual income. Offers great rewards like bonus cars and amazing travel opportunities.
And that's such a great perk, especially if you've been working so hard for so long. Those
Right.
bonus trips are top notch and
Mhm.
well earned.
The company handles accounting, legal, and most of the administration duties.
Mhm.
You can create an income by specializing in teaching and versus selling. Like I said, guiding them and teaching them. Yes. Mhm.
Yep. And I think this is a good point to just spend a little extra time on, because most people, when they think about network marketing, have this idea of a salesperson in mind, right? You're
Right.
running door to door, you're, selling your products to people,
Mhm.
which can have a very high pressure feel to it. But with what you and I do, Dina, like, we don't do that, do we?
No, absolutely not.
No. We focus on education, educating people and giving them information, sharing a possibility while offering a choice. And I think that is such a can be such a wild concept. What did you first think of it when you heard that you could do this without having to be a salesperson?
Yeah, right. No. No, I honestly, it was skeptical. I mean, like most people are going to come into this, it's network marketing that instantly tells you you're selling. But when, the more I did it, the more I realized, oh, I am just guiding them to take a look at what we have to offer and teach them what about our products. And I wasn't selling; they were choosing.
Hmm.
It was offering
Exactly.
choices. Yes.
Yeah. And how did that feel compared to what would have traditionally been done? Even in the past, it was focused on education, but many took it as a sales part. And so, how did that feel for you? Was it relatively comfortable?
It was freedom. It made me feel free, and like the burden of selling was lifted. And so it just made me realize I can do this.
Yeah. And two, being in the field that you're in, you are a natural educator, right? If
Yeah.
you look at what you do in the healthcare profession, you teach people about how to take care of their health. Even though you're in radiology, and you have that knowledge and you have that skill set. So being able to transfer it into something, like you said before, where it's you're helping them avoid meeting you in the ICU and all those other places that we really don't want to be,
Right.
I think is such a valuable thing where you can take those skills and utilize them in other places to build freedom for yourself.
Right. Yep.
Excellent.
And you can do it all online using your laptop and smartphone if you want to.
Hmm. And that right there is the epitome of flexibility.
Yes.
Here's a great example. I'm up in Canada.
Hmm.
Dina is south of the border, right? And here we are being able to talk about this and share this with you, so you can learn about an option. And Dina and I have worked together Previous to this, of course, I work with her and helping her get set up as well. And it's just so neat to be able to connect with people from all over the world. It doesn't have to be in your local area
Right.
because of the technology.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop share and see if there's any questions so far. It looks like we're actually pretty clear. But before we wrap up, Dina, is there anything you want to add to what we've talked about? If you have someone who's, there's someone on here who's curious about looking at this or is like wondering or they're on the fence, what words of wisdom would you give them?
I would say it's 8 to 10 hours a week to start a networking business to start. You may find that you love it, and if it's right for you, then you can grow it to endless. Grow it endless, and you use your creativity and your inner entrepreneur to make it your own. It doesn't have to be just like the franchise. It will be yours.
Mhm. Yep, I think that is such a great note to end on. And I just want to thank you again, Dina, for sharing tonight. I thought this was incredibly valuable, and getting your insights into this and into a different side of healthcare, I think is so valuable for so many because, like I said before, and I've said many times during this already, that what you do and in that side of the healthcare field, I think many people forget that you're there, right? And you're very much a part of this whole thing. So opening up for people who may be in your position and wondering what else is there out there for me. So thank you so much for sharing tonight, Dina. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for having me, Kristen.
Awesome.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. See, we knew we'd make it through this. No problem.
Yes.
So let me wrap this up and we'll just talk a little bit about how to get started. So, if you're curious about how you can experience the benefits of becoming an online entrepreneur, what I'd like to do is invite you to take a free, no risk tour of our business center where you can explore the opportunity to get ahead with an online business where you can run it from your laptop or smartphone. And in that tour, you're going to discover the market that is experiencing phenomenal growth worldwide, the high quality consumable products our customers buy from us online, how you can create sales without selling, like Dina and I were talking about. It kind of sounds like there's no way, but there is. The 60-year-old supplier that we've partnered with and the business model, our competitive advantage or the secret sauce, the fabulous benefits like expense paid travel, car bonuses, income, flexibility, security, and more, how you can do it in your spare time, and also how you can start on a budget. So if you'd like to learn a little bit about that and just, see the possibility and discover a new possibility for getting ahead, then get in touch with the person who invited you to this event and they would be happy. Ask them for a guided tour of their business center and they'd be happy to guide you, entrepreneur. So with that, we want to thank you again for joining us tonight and we will see you next week for our work at home story. Take care, everybody.
Good night.